Hey there, folks. How y'all doing today? You're listening to WCB, the underground sound of Emerson College. Welcome to Technically Not Experts. I'm Elliot Kelton.
And I'm Daryn Snyderwin. And here at Technically Not Experts, we talk about our hyperfixations that we are so passionate about and explain it to the other person who has no knowledge on the subject. So while we're technically not experts, we are for all intents and purposes.
But not legally.
That doesn't mean anything.
I just like saying it.
I'm positive that that's why you do it. Okay, so today presenting we have Elliot. Elliot, how are you doing today?
How are you doing today? Yeah.
I think it's a universal feeling. I feel like everyone's feeling pretty
Yeah, this
today.
week has been a weird week.
Yeah, it's like I feel like this past week everyone's just been like, why?
And wonky. Wonky's been
really wonky.
Yeah. Now, do we want to do any shout outs before we start off today?
I think we should introduce the topic and then we'll do the shout outs. We have 2 shout outs today.
We have 2. So the topic is the Oresteia, which is the ancient Greek trilogy of plays.
Please don't leave. This is not boring.
It's very, very cool.
At least I think so. I only know some of it because you've explained it to me briefly before.
I love it so much.
But shout out to
Professor Cronin, who taught me all about it.
And also shout out to TJ Lynn, my boyfriend, who I'm sure is very embarrassed that I'm doing this. It is his birthday today. He is 20 years old, and I am devoted. So I'm going to say happy birthday live on the radio. So happy birthday, TJ. I love you very much. Okay. I will release you from your prison
of fear.
Of why are you doing this on live radio? I'm sure.
Yes. Now let's get into the topic, the Oresteia.
All right.
What do you know about the Oresteia?
I know that it's a Greek thing.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a play.
Yeah.
And it's about a woman who goes on like a revenge plot, and she does something to her son, and her son hates her for it. And that's all I remember.
Okay. So in a quick summary type thing, the Oresteia is like a series of Greek plays. It's a trilogy.
Oh, it's multiple plays.
It's 3 plays.
Okay.
The Oresteia is the full name of it, but each play has its own name. It goes Agamemnon, Libation Bearers, and then Eumenides.
I think I've heard of Agamemnon.
Yes. So it's about the house of Atreus, and specifically Agamemnon's and Clytemnestra's deaths. And it was written kind of as propaganda.
Yay!
Even though the propaganda part's the most boring part of the story. Like they just added it at the end, and I was like, eh. Like it's the last play.
Which part?
So
Atreus?
Yeah.
What?
No. So Atreus is the house.
Okay.
This is. So the propaganda is about the court of Areopagus, which was this newfangled trial by court in which you would have lawyers and a jury.
Oh.
And they wanted to make it popular. And so they made this play to explain the first time anyone ever had a trial.
So this is
crime.
like the original Law and Order SVU.
100%. And yet this is the most boring part of it. Like the trial is so boring. I'm just like,
oh, yikes.
And so they did this all to be like, yes, look at this ancient history that this new building has. It's always been here, even though it has not always been here. And so
like Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Yes. Yes. So it's look, we have tales of this, and now everyone get really excited about law. And that's what they were trying to do. And who knows whether that worked or not, but we now have the same law. So I
mean, I think, I feel like law dramas are either really boring or really fun. It's really no in between. I don't think you can have a fairly neutral law drama. You either have something super exciting and interesting and at the edge of your seat, high stakes kind of stuff, or you're just watching the most drawn out, boring trials ever.
It's not Judge Judy.
Damn.
Even though the judge in the end, spoilers, is Athena. Athena is the judge.
What?
And she doesn't even
Judge Athena?
no fun Judge Athena. She's not like calling out and being like, this is my court.
How is it not fun with a goddess at the stand?
Because she's boring and slightly sexist. We'll get into it.
Well, I believe that's all Greek myths.
Yeah.
It's just a little, not always boring, but quite sexist.
Yeah. So before the story starts, there's a lot of like background that the audience knew. So Aeschylus, the dude who wrote these plays, didn't put in there because it's like how we already know Spider-Man got bit by a spider.
Right. Okay.
We don't need to see that happen to know that this is Spider-Man.
Right. One of the many things that Homecoming did right.
Right. Like we don't need to see Tom Holland. I was gonna say Tom Hiddleston. Tom Holland.
Wrong Tom. There are many. I understand your
We don't
confusion.
need Tom. We don't need Tom to get bitten. We know what's going to happen. So this is like the little bit backstory before the story starts.
Mm-hmm.
Zeus has a son named Tantalus. Tantalus.
Sorry, what a stupid name.
It's such a stupid name. He's an evil, evil man.
He sounds evil. Like no one with his name sounds like tantalizing.
Yeah.
Or tarantula could possibly be a good guy.
So Tantalus has a son named Pelops. And
also stupid name.
For some funny giggles, he murders his son.
Oh.
And cooks him and tries to feed him to the gods.
As
a prank.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro.
I was just kidding.
And the gods caught Tantalus in the act. Like after he had murdered, but while he was cooking him and trying to feed it to him, they were like, this feels weird. So
it's a social experiment, guys. It's not that big a deal. It was all a prank.
Obviously, Tantalus gets sent to the underworld to be tortured forever because he sucks.
Right.
And they bring Pelops back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tantalus's entire bloodline is cursed. The gods put a curse on his entire bloodline because of what he did. And the curse demands blood for blood. If one person dies, another person must die. It's a lot of revenge and getting vengeance on it.
That just sounds like a really great way to wipe out an entire family line very quickly.
Slowly but surely it happens. So Pelops has a bunch of children, but the two main children that we're focusing on is Atreus, who is the house of Atreus, and Thyestes. And they hung out and then they killed their half-brother for, again, giggles.
Right.
Because, these are great, great people. No reason why, they just did it. And then they were banished from the town and they became kings.
Oh yeah, that seems like a fair punishment for killing their brother.
So this is where the curse comes in yet again. Atreus finds out that his brother Thyestes is having an affair with his wife.
Oh.
And
yikes.
So Atreus kills and he murders Thyestes' son, one of them, cooks him.
What is with these people?
And drum roll, please, he actually does get to feed him to Thyestes. Thyestes ate his own son without
no.
Now,
No.
Yes.
What is with these people? Jeffrey Dahmering people.
Now, Thyestes isn't a good guy. We're not going to say that he's already killed someone, but even more so, he and his daughter have another son.
Okay.
He and his daughter have a son together.
Honestly, I'm not shocked, okay? I read Oedipus. I know this stuff.
Named Aegistheus, who kills Atreus in revenge for killing his brother. Aegistheus is going to come back up in the story because he is Clytemnestra's lover.
Okay, so there's Aegistheus and Atreus, and they're two different people.
Atreus is not really going to come up too much more.
Because he's dead.
It's going to, he's just been murdered. Atreus's kids are Agamemnon and Menelaus. Menelaus is the husband of Helen of Troy. And so when Helen of Troy gets kidnapped, he starts the Trojan War to get her back.
Right, I know that one. And
so King Agamemnon, being the brother of Menelaus, he's like, well, I want to join the war to help in the war effort to be a man. Like
that's what you do. That's for like brotherly love. It's like, I'm gonna join you in this really deadly war.
But here's the thing.
Over something super petty.
Artemis hates Agamemnon.
Artemis hates men.
Artemis hates men.
Rightfully so.
so rightfully so. He does suck. Artemis hates Agamemnon because Agamemnon, while hunting, killed one of her sacred deer. Even though there's like no sign that it's a sacred deer or anything like that. It's not like he
It's just
knew.
like that. Hey, that was my deer.
That's my favorite one.
That was my favorite deer, and you totally just stepped on it.
So Artemis is like, you can't go to war unless you kill your youngest daughter.
That's not his wife. Oh wait, who married the daughter?
Who buried the daughter?
Who married the daughter?
Oh, the daughter was not married. She was just dead. She was just murdered by her own father.
Right, this one. There was another one.
There's another one who's Thyestes married his own daughter. Yes.
Okay.
So Iphigenia immediately murdered by her own father.
These names.
Cold blood. And then,
yikes.
After killing Iphigenia, Agamemnon gets on a boat and immediately sails away for war, not telling his wife that he's killed their child.
You might want to communicate that. You see, I always believe that communication is necessary for every relationship, especially communication is key.
Communication is key.
Shout out again to your mom.
And so, while Agamemnon is away at war for 10 years, a 10-year war.
Oh my God.
Clytemnestra, his wife, has all the time in the world to plot her revenge.
Yes, I love a revenge plot. It's one of my favorite kinds of plots.
And she does this, she does a couple things before the start of the book. She hires a bunch of watchmen, like a couple miles away from each other. So there's one dude, and then he's a couple miles away, and then there's another dude a couple miles away from them. And as soon as the Trojan War ends, the first dude will light a fire. And then the person a couple miles away will see that and light a fire, and it'll keep going thousands of miles until it gets to their house. So she can find out immediately when the Trojan War ended.
That's incredible networking skills.
She is a genius, and like, I love her. I want to be her in every single way, in like the good parts. So she does all of this on her own. And she, right before, when she finds out that Agamemnon's coming back, she sends her son Orestes away because she's worried that he's going to stop her. Orestes is the titular character of the Oresteia. He'll come back in the second play. So
okay, Orestes. So, listen, I think great mom moves, you know, when she's just like, yo, my kid got murked by my husband, so I want to murk my husband,
right,
but I'm gonna send my other kid away instead of loving and caring for my son.
Well, there's Electra, the daughter, who
what? That's a superhero. There's a superhero named Electra. Is that the same person?
Sadly, Aeschylus, the writer, writes Electra like she's super dumb and has no thoughts.
No.
There's Electra, the daughter. She's in the second play for like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And she's not sent away. She's just mourning her father's loss the entire time, like 10 years later.
Oh, come on.
Let's get into the first play. So the first play is Agamemnon, in which the watchman, who's like living with Clytemnestra in like the castle, sees the fire. And so he runs down to signal that the Trojan War has ended and tell her. And as soon as he runs down, she starts enacting this plan. She's like, I can't wait for my husband to come home. I'm so excited. I love my husband. I've been so good, and I've stayed true to him. I never dated anyone else. I never even looked at anyone else. I love my husband.
Is that true?
No.
I remember she doesn't love her husband, but did she stay faithful?
No, she has a lover, and
yes,
she is lying to everyone because she is a baddie at heart.
Oh my God.
So Agamemnon returns home from the war, the 10-year war, and he's got a fun new slave to bring with him, Cassandra.
Oh,
now
slaves.
Now Cassandra was an oracle of Apollo. We love Apollo, right? Do we?
Well, it depends.
Not here.
Depends on which Apollo, because Apollo is either like
really good.
I like a super cool guy. He's just kind of chilling in sandals, or like he's a rapist.
So in this one, he's the second one. So
awesome, great.
She's an oracle of Apollo, but when Apollo was like, "Hey, let's do more," she rejects him, and so he curses her to see the future, but no one will ever believe her.
Oh no.
So Cassandra, being a slave, brought to this random strange place, she's trying to warn anyone who will listen. Specifically the chorus, which is the narrators of the story / a bunch of old dudes who just live in the town who are telling the story. She tells them, Clytemnestra is going to murder Agamemnon. Okay? Mm-hmm. And they're just like, who's the man who's going to kill our king? Who's the man, though? What man? If it's not a man, I can't believe you. It would be ridiculous if a woman were to kill him.
Women can't kill. They're women. They're too soft.
Cly is so clearly in love with her husband. She could never kill him. Like, they're saying all these things, basically gaslighting Cassandra, even though she knows that she's going to die and that Agamemnon's going to die.
See, this whole play just screams men are trash.
Yes.
No offense, but...
So Agamemnon and Cassandra walk off stage to meet with Cly and are immediately murdered.
By Cly?
By Cly.
Yes.
And,
kill them.
And her lover, Aegistheus, who murdered Atreus, the like dad of Agamemnon. So there's like a bunch of like stuff there. So
great.
She's in a relationship with her husband's father's murderer.
Isn't that like an old dude?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's dating a DILF?
She is dating a DILF. So they kind of like, he's an accomplice, but she's the one who does the murder. She murders.
Right.
And
for once he's not murdering. She's doing all the murder.
He never murders.
Well, isn't the lover like already
oh, he's
murder?
Murdered. He did actually already murder. I apologize. That's a scratch.
There's so much murder, we get all the murder mixed up.
So the chorus of old dudes hears all these agonizing screams of death, like calling out, "Please help me!" And they're just like,
"Save me from the lady!"
And they're just like, "What should we do?" For 10 minutes, just having like a regular, casual conversation. They could have saved them, but no, they were just like, "What should we do? How are you doing today? Like, how are you feeling?
Are you
like,
okay? Like,
yeah.
It's midterms, you know?"
I'm hearing this weird screaming, but I think I'm imagining it.
Like, I just got a flashback to Doctor Who. Maybe it's just because I'm too focused on Doctor Who. But they go back in time because one of the characters, River, wants to go back in time and kill Hitler. Mm-hmm. And so they end up accidentally saving Hitler from an assassin. And then they were like, he's like, "Thank you. I think you just saved my life." And they're like, "It was an accident." and then he goes to shoot them because he realizes that they're British. And so they put him in a cupboard.
They put him. Okay, wait, I'm confused.
They put Hitler in a cupboard, and also, so he shot the River, and then they realize that she's River when she regenerates and becomes River. It's a long story, but essentially, everyone's like confused by all this happening, and he's like, "There's this pounding in my head," and then Amy is like, "I think that might be Hitler in the cupboard."
So back to not Hitler in the cupboard.
If you ever have a headache, just say, "I think that might be Hitler in the cupboard."
Back to the two murdered bodies on the floor. That's where the first play ends.
Great.
The second play.
I love a cliffhanger.
The second play is a flash forward about like 7 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. After Agamemnon's death and after all the murder and stuff. So Cly's daughter, Electra, is looked down upon. She's seen as less than. She's been mourning her dad for 10 years straight.
Okay.
Which is like too much.
Yeah, that's a bit long to be mourning your jerk of a dad.
I love like all of my family, but 10 years of every single day, like going and like mourning and doing nothing but mourning for 10 years straight.
Yeah, I think that's a bit much. Like, you gotta stop wearing black at some point. Like
she does nothing else. She's just Like, moment.
Girl, like write a play about your dead dad or something. Like do something else. Make something productive out of your grief. Don't just sit there and wallow in it.
So while Electra is mourning as usual, two strange men walk into the house.
Ooh.
So one is Orestes, the son of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra.
So Electra's brother.
Yes, who is now grown up and haunted by the fact that his mother killed his father.
And not that his father killed his sister.
Nope,
his other sister.
There was a play that I watched. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like I can't remember it, but it was like a version, a parody of the Oresteia, in which the character Orestes did not know that his father killed his younger sister. Like he just was never told that, and so
oh god,
he just thought like Clytemnestra killed out of like random like violence.
I feel like that wouldn't be like the case though. If Clytemnestra is going to go through all this trouble
right
to kill her husband and send her son away in the process, I feel like she'd tell him, "This is why I'm sending you away."
Well, she's not a good communicator, so
I mean that much is clear.
So anyway, he comes back and he's like, "My mom killed my dad, and I'm furious about that, but I also don't know what to do." And he's got his friend Pylades. Now,
quote around friends. Why?
So do you want to play, you're going to say this line right here. We're going to go back and forth.
Okay. I'm playing Orestes and you're playing
Pylades. This
Pylades.
This is a real, true amount of quotes that is so definitely not friend-like. So Pylades says to Orestes, "I'll take care of you."
It's rotten work.
"Not to me. Not if it's you."
That's some gay-ish right there. That's gay. That's uber gay.
Is that not the gayest thing?
That is mega gay.
That is romance. That's not a friend thing. No friend has ever said that to another friend.
It's rotten work. Not to me. Not if it's you.
I'll take care of you. Like all this
I want to feed you grapes.
All this stuff, like Pylades is helping him and everything like that. So Orestes, Pylades, Electra, they all meet, and Electra doesn't really recognize Orestes at first, but he finally convinces her, and she's like, "Oh, you have the same hair color." Again,
that's the deal breaker.
She's stupid.
You're brunette. It must be true.
Yes, that's literally what she says. So then Apollo comes to Orestes in a dream, and
oh no, Apollo, go away. No one likes
this
you.
Annoying dude
this
says,
annoying god.
This annoying god says he must kill his mother. Because there's one of two things that could happen. If he doesn't kill his mother, his father will never be avenged, and he will be basically an accomplice in his mother's crime.
That's not how that works.
Having his father's blood on his hands.
That's like saying, I punch you in the face, and our roommate Oliver, who's in the other room, and had no idea that I punched you in the face until later, in which case Oliver's like, why did you punch Elliot in the face? Now Oliver has to punch me in the face? I don't think so.
Oliver is an accomplice in the crime.
No, Oliver is not, at fault for me punching you in the face because I punched you in the face. It's my fault.
So Apollo tells him that he is either going to be an accomplice in the crime, or if he does kill his mother, the Eumenides, which are powerful monster-like furies from the underworld.
Like the three.
Yes.
Furies.
Those are them.
Like the not the sites.
The unsightly ones, or like
the one. I remember the ones who have one eye and one tooth. And
no, those are like the Fates.
Oh.
So the three, these furies are just, their big job is to torture anyone who kills a blood relative. Forever. They will, till the end of time, they will torture that person in the underworld.
Ooh.
You kill a blood relative, you will get tortured. Now, the reason why Clytemnestra was not tortured by the Eumenides is because she's not a blood relative to her husband.
Right.
So she got off scot-free. There was no problems with her murdering her husband. People were angry, but Clyde.
Clytemnestra, Clyde. I love we call her Clyde. We know her.
Oh, I do know her.
I don't, but it's like, Clyde, we gotta go shopping every Friday night.
So he's like, either the Eumenides will come after me and torture me, or I will be an accomplice to my mother's crime. And
Well, it seems like the accomplice part has a lot less of a permanent, effect.
he's conflicted. He doesn't know what to do. He feels bad.
Get over it.
And
dude.
so he and Pylades, his definitely not lover,
his boyfriend.
Yes, they meet Clyde. And obviously, it's been years later. She doesn't recognize him, and they lie about their identities. And he says, we were friends of Orestes, and Orestes is now dead.
Oh, he says, oh, your son is also murked. There's so many murked people.
Even though he is Orestes, the trickster himself.
Who does he say that he is?
He just lies, and he's like a random dude. Like,
hi, I'm Frank.
I'm Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm a friend of Orestes. He's dead, but I'm not.
There's this.
We have the same hair color. Ignore it.
Don't think about the fact that we're all brunette. So there's this ancient tradition where if someone asks to stay at your house for the night, you have to say yes. It's like rude to say no. Like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
And
bad manners.
Yeah, it's bad manners. So when they say, hey,
you'll be tortured by the Eumenides.
Hey, can we please just have like one night stay and then we're gonna leave? And Clyde's like, yeah, of course. Please, you are my guests.
Okay.
And
Clyde, seems nice.
Yes. She calls over her not so secret lover, Aegistheus, to help the boys settle in.
The guy who murdered her dead husband's dad.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Orestes immediately kills Aegistheus.
Oh, like in front of Clyde?
The door is closed, but she hears a scream. She opens the door. She sees him over the dead body. Now,
yike.
So she runs in. She sees Orestes over the dead body. Orestes reveals his true identity as Orestes, her son. And then he says that he's here to kill her. And, but he still seems hesitant about everything. He doesn't know exactly what to do. But Pylades is reminding him over and over of Apollo's prophecy, and he's like, okay, I will kill my mom.
Well, here's the thing. The prophecy just was, if you don't kill your mom, you won't avenge your dad. But if you do kill your mom, you'll be like damned to Hades for like forever torture. And you're gonna just like, you're gonna be like, yeah, forever torture sounds great. I'm gonna just do that.
So he chooses forever torture. Anyway, Clytemnestra.
Over just getting over the fact that his mom got revenge on his murderer father.
Clytemnestra, being the sexy, strong, manipulative woman that she is, immediately starts debating Orestes, trying to convince him not to murder her.
We love a debate. This is the courtroom drama we wanted.
This is not the courtroom drama, sadly.
I know, but like, I like to imagine that they transport into a courtroom, and now she's just like, state your case, Clyde. Well, don't murder me, I'm your mom.
So I was debating whether or not to write every single quote down of the 3 pages of debate.
Oh my God.
Because there's not a single bad line in it, but I wrote down the best part. So I will be playing Clytemnestra, you'll be playing Orestes. Here are the lines. Are you ready?
I'll play your son and you'll play my mom.
Yes. Clytemnestra starts off by saying, I gave you life, let me grow old with you.
What? Kill my father, then you'd live with me?
Destiny had a hand in that, my child.
This too, destiny is handling you, your death.
You have no fear of a mother's curse.
Mother? You flung me to a life of pain.
Never flung you. You placed you in a comrade's house.
Disgraced me, sold me, a freeborn father's son. Sold him?
Yes. So Orestes was convinced that Clytemnestra sold him away to become a slave.
What? Did he do slave labor?
He was like treated as a peasant and everything like that. His father's the king. Anything like where he's treated less than, he's a slave.
God, he's one of those white guys. It's like,
but
I refuse to be like denounced into slavery. Meanwhile, they have slaves.
But like also at the same time, remember, like if you were like 9 or 10 years old and your mom sends you away for like years on end and then murders your dad, like how would you feel? Like you would just be like, oh,
but you're not gonna be like, oh, you sold me into slavery. You know, You can be mad about the other things that are wrong with this picture, but not that part. You don't get to.
So they go in this beautiful, quick back and forth debate, like so witty, so strong. Everyone's like going quick, but Orestes is still convinced that like Cly ruined his life, and so he violently kills her.
Oh no!
Well, we knew it was going to happen, and then at the very, very end of the play, the second play, Orestes sees the Eumenides, the Furies, coming in the distance, coming to like catch him so they can torture him for eternity. So the third play, otherwise known as the worst play, disgusting, is called the Eumenides. Now, I wrote the worst play, even though it's technically the most important one. I'm not sure whether it's truly most important.
You clearly enjoy the one where there's Cly being
so manipulative, but so cool.
Being a baddie.
She's always a baddie, and she has like one line in this entire play. Yes, she's dead. I'll get to it.
Wait, did they like summon her spirit or whatever?
Yeah, kind of. So Orestes is running for his life, running away from the Eumenides, and he runs to Apollo's house.
Apollo has a house?
Apollo has a house.
Why is Apollo chilling with the mortals? Just like being domestic.
Apollo's now the good guy here.
No, he's not a good guy. He's a rapist.
Not anymore. So he runs to Apollo's house, where Apollo temporarily shoos the Eumenides away. He's like, go. No, not right now. And
go away. You're annoying.
It's not written, like, it's not line by line written, but if you read between the lines, Orestes and Apollo are clearly having some sort of romance going on.
But I thought that Orestes was in a romance with the other guy.
Yes.
Orestes, you have your mother's ability to just be in multiple relationships at once.
To just switch on a dime. And so, they are, like, he runs to Apollo's house. He's like, Apollo, save me. Apollo does. He stays with Apollo.
Stay with me, boyfriend.
He stays in Apollo's house, living with him for weeks on end.
Oh my God.
And then the ghost of Cly sees that like he's not getting tortured and that the Eumenides have just been kind of giving up, and she goes to them and she's like, I command you to get back to work so you could torture my son forever.
So okay, the ghost of Cly is like, bro, what the heck? Do
your job.
Yeah. Do your job and torture my son.
Do your job, torture my son, the easy stuff. She's like, do we like Clytemnestra? Yes. Is she a good person? Yes. But like...
What? I don't think any of these people are good people. This sounds just like a bunch of really terrible people going at it. And you just gotta pick your terrible person to side with. And I side with Clytemnestra.
Cly.
She's a strong woman. She's a terrible person, but amazing.
So obviously, after being screamed at, the Eumenides come back to take Orestes. But Apollo has a plan. He goes to his sister, Athena, and he's like, you're going to be a judge. We're going to have a trial for Orestes with like a jury of full strangers, and everyone's going to decide Orestes' fate.
Great.
And then Athena's just like, sure, I'm bored.
Sure, why not? I'll create an entirely new court system so that way we can just deal with this situation.
We could just like mess around and have a good time. And so she steals 10 random people from Athens, or like whatever, how many random people, and she's like, you guys are going to be the jury.
I like to imagine that she sends them the jury duty notice, like, hey, you got a jury duty. They're like, what?
I'm just imagining,
really? I have work that day.
I'm just imagining she's like picking them up by their neck and like just dropping them. She's
just like a cat.
Yeah, just dropping them one by one into their seats. Like, you don't get a choice in this matter. You're not even...
Sit down.
Listen to the tea that's about to spill. Like...
we gotta talk about this, like, Dramageddon.
So Apollo then puts on his big boy suit and becomes Orestes' lawyer, because for some reason he literally becomes the lawyer. Like, he's like,
get your boyfriend to be your lawyer.
Get you a man who can do multiple things.
TJ, I know you're listening. I give you a shout out. If you don't be my lawyer after I murder my parents, then I'm gonna be mad.
If your boyfriend doesn't curse random strange women, shoo away evil, villainous underworld creatures, and be your lawyer, what are you doing?
Why are you even in that relationship?
Throw the relationship away. It's not worth your time.
They better be a god.
They better be a god. So
And hopefully not a rapist. Hopefully that's where the line is drawn.
So he did rape Cassandra. He just really wanted to, but instead he cursed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Attempted rapist.
Yes.
Because that's way better.
I'm not being like we should be pro Apollo. I'm just communicating he did not technically. He's still bad.
Not all men.
Not all Apollos.
Not all gods. Even though all gods.
So Apollo, wearing his big boy suit, convinces the entire jury and Athena that it's not Oreste's fault that he killed his mom. Why? Why do you think, without reading this, why do you think it's not his fault?
I feel like I remember you explaining this to me. And I think it might have been something along the lines of, well, if my mom murdered my dad, then she's not my mom because she's a murderer or something like that.
Close to it. Even though she gave birth to him, is she really, and like technically it's blood relationship? Or blood relation, is she really blood relation? Is a mom really part of the family?
Is this just some kind of sexist commentary? What the heck?
And Athena agrees. Because you must remember, Athena does not have a mom. Athena was born out of Zeus's brain.
Right.
And so Athena is anti-moms.
But don't be you're a mom. Isn't Athena like have kids or something?
She's a virgin.
I mean, I'm just thinking Percy Jackson.
You're thinking Percy Jackson.
Because she is so not a virgin in Percy Jackson.
So she's like, yeah, I'm anti-moms.
Why do you have to be anti-moms?
And like, she couldn't have really been his family if she sends him away and does all these other things.
God, we hate internalized misogyny, especially in goddesses.
And so the court is evenly split, saying like half the court's like he's innocent, half the court's like he's guilty. Athena's like, I get to make the final decision because it's half and half, and I'm gonna say Orestes is innocent. But she is pro Orestes. And
see, the thing that I have a problem with is the fact that this is the way that our court system works today. But this was made to be corrupt.
Yes. And so
so we basically designed our law after a intentionally corrupt system.
Yes. So
oh my God.
Orestes gets off scot-free and lives the rest of his life with Apollo. Gay. Gay.
I understand
I'm sorry, I would have chosen Pylades. Pylades literally said, like, not to me, not if it's you. That's like the most romantic. Let's go back to that really quickly because like I'll take care of you.
It's rotten work.
Not to me, not if it's you. That's romance, that's butter, that's everything.
That's butter?
You're melting. Like
that's butter.
That's butter. And so he ends up with Apollo. We're all angry at it. But go off, I guess.
It's like when you ship Elena, or no, let's think of a different thing, not Vampire Diaries. Let's think Twilight. It's like when you ship her with Jacob, but it's never meant to be. You know she's gonna go back to Edward.
But you don't want it to happen. Edward's creepy. Like
that pale, creepy.
Edward sparkles in the sunlight. Like, wait, it's a bit weird.
And let's be honest, he was born in 1908. He's racist. He's gotta be. The way he treats the werewolves, that's a racist.
Oh, yeah. So now that we've finished the 3 plays, we're getting to the best part of the story.
Oh.
The abuse.
I'm having a hard time understanding why abuse is the best part of the story.
So here's the thing. There's so many themes throughout the story of like vengeance and like animal themes of like mother and child animals, or like a mother giving birth to a snake and then the snake like bites her later on in a dream, and that was like Clytemnestra's dream. And then later on, right as she's about to get killed, Orestes is like, or she screams to Orestes, "You are the snake. You are going to kill me."
Well, yeah, no duh.
Right, and it's like a whole thing. There's so many different themes throughout the entire story, but the strongest one, the one that I'm most fascinated about, is the cycle of abuse seen in this family.
Like generational
trauma. Abuse, because it's like not just like a small part of the family. It's not just Agamemnon, Orestes, and Clytemnestra. It would be one thing if these guys were just like messed up people, but
Right.
it's like it's been taught down. So it starts with Tantalus killing his son for no reason and trying to feed it to the gods. And then it goes all the way to Orestes because of that curse, the curse that he was given. And so, like, Tantalus, angry at the son, he kills kills his son, and then he just tries to feed him. And then they were like, "Well, we're gonna actually bring him back to life." And then Pelops' sons kill their half brother. Again, no reason, just in a violent rage. There's this like there's this taught thing of like it's okay to kill almost, and then it keeps going, and it's more and more normalized as the generations go by because every single person is murdering.
So like, I can see why you're fascinated by this because it is interesting about how like generational, like, you know, how abuse is taught in families and how you teach your kids how to, because they learn from you how to behave by being around you, but also by being your kid, they have all like there's that nature versus nurture argument. It's both, let's be honest.
It's generational trauma too, as well. Like it's being passed down, this innate thing that's just being sent down through almost like through the biology of it, which is like so interesting. Like, and so then Atreus kills his nephew and feeds it to like his brother, which is like disgusting in its own. And Thyestes does a different type of abuse that we haven't seen before. He commits incest with his daughter, but it's still abuse.
Yeah, that's awful.
And then that child of the incest murders Atreus, which, even though it's not a parent murdering like a son or like an older person murdering a younger person, there's still abuse in that. That's still a violence that's being like brought down and like cursing the bloodline even more.
It's like, because violence is still violence.
Right.
And no matter how you frame it, when you continue a cycle of violence, even if you believe you're in the right, even if you are in the right, it's still violence and it will still perpetuate like anger and sadness, and it's, if not within yourself, then within the people around you.
And then like look at Agamemnon. Agamemnon kills his daughter so he could just like go to war and look good.
Okay, why does he kill his daughter?
So he killed Artemis's deer. Artemis is pissed. Artemis is like, you can't go to war. I will kill you if you go to war, unless you kill your daughter.
So Artemis was the one who was like, kill your daughter, and he was like, okay, and then he just does.
He didn't even like question it. There wasn't even a thing of like, ooh, should I do it? What's gonna happen? He was just like, murder time. Like he immediately murders his like daughter who he loves.
Also keep in mind that all of these murders are happening by men until Clytemnestra. She's the only woman who is a part of this like cycle of abuse, and only because her husband killed their kid.
And it's interesting because she doesn't have any of the bloodline.
No.
She's like this. She's from a different family as well. She's just married in.
Right.
So this like murder of her daughter and not being told and having to deal with 10 years with her husband being gone and her having to know that all of this happened, it drives her insane. And she slowly becomes more abusive and violent over time. And it shows that it's not always just an innate like biological thing, but someone could be broken into it. Like if you have enough trauma, you might accidentally do it.
It's like that thing from Batman. It's like you can die and be a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Right.
Especially if you're surrounded by all the crap that she's surrounded by.
And this is the first type of emotional abuse we see in the family, because she's abusing her children in a different way. She's not physically hurting them or killing them, but she's sending them off. She's making them feel like she doesn't care about them. She's never saying, I love you. She is forcing her daughter to mourn for 10 years.
Trigger warning, by the way. Oh my God, we didn't even mention a trigger warning about abuse.
Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy.
Trigger warning, there is abuse.
There's a lot of abuse.
And murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, she's like doing this emotional abuse, which is like so different that they're not used to. And so as soon as Agamemnon gets back, she immediately kills him. And she thinks she's ending the bloodline there because Orestes is gone. Electra is docile and stupid. And Agamemnon's dead. But then when Orestes comes back, tells Clytemnestra that he is himself, and he kills Clytemnestra, he feels like he's ending the cycle of abuse. So she thought for so long, I'm done. I finished it. Like I can now live past that and be a better person now. And I can grow and change. But she still gets her comeuppance type of
because
thing.
I find that to be kind of fair, actually.
Yes.
Because the thing is just because you're willing to move on from the things that you did wrong doesn't mean that everyone around you is. And that doesn't mean that you have been forgiven.
But you're also but we also understand why you did it, but it's not okay.
Right. Like there can be some toxic behavior that is completely explainable based on the toxic situation that a person may go through. But that doesn't mean that it's okay to treat everyone else in your life like crap.
It doesn't mean that you should be toxic. It just means that it's explainable. We understand it technically.
Right. It makes sense how you got from A to B.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you should
go from A to B.
Yeah.
You shouldn't kill people. Hot take.
Murder's kind of bad.
And so
most of the time.
The thing is, though, because of the trial, because all of the rest of his family is basically dead, the trial says that Orestes is innocent, and he doesn't really have kids or anything. I don't remember. The bloodline ends. The curse ends with him. He's
just
never
don't have kids. That's how you
just be gay. Just be gay.
Just be gay and never have kids.
Be gay and never have kids. So the bloodline ends. He's the one. So it's weirdly enough, he's the savior of the family because he's ended the curse. And so, and that's why I personally think it's named the Oresteia, because even though he's in only 2 of the 3 parts,
right?
It's because he's trying to figure out how to end this cycle of abuse. And it's very, very interesting, and I could keep going on and on about it.
I mean, we have 12 minutes,
yes.
So you could.
I do want to say I was going to write a little bit about the cycle of abuse that Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Phineas and Ferb goes through, and then compare it, because weirdly enough, there's a lot of similar comparisons.
Yeah, you have a lot of. You kin Dr. Doofenshmirtz, which I've never seen anyone kin Dr. Doofenshmirtz in my life. I've seen people admire him for being a giant goofball, but not for being oh, that's me.
That's me. I experience that on a day-to-day. I am that.
You're constantly trying to cook up a new semi-evil plan and then be thwarted by a platypus and a fedora.
Let's be honest, Daryn, you're the platypus.
Am I Perry?
You're Perry.
Am I thwarting all of your evil plans?
Daryn will walk in and I will be like, a girl, and then Daryn will put on her glasses and I'll be like, Daryn the girl.
Daryn the female.
Daryn the platypus.
Oh my god. I secretly have a bill. That's the thing, is I secretly am hiding a bill.
I mean, the audience can't see it. It's not a secret anymore.
They can't possibly know. It could be edited out. They don't know. You have to know me in real life. And even then, I could be hiding it.
You could. I mean, I keep on seeing you wearing masks everywhere. Is that what you're trying to hide?
For sure. That is the only reason I wear a mask. There is no other outside reason for me wearing a mask. It is just because I'm hiding my platypus bill.
As one does.
Okay.
And so that's mostly everything. Now, having heard this story, how do you feel about it? Do you think that this is a good story? Do you understand why I'm interested in it? What's going on?
I am. I think that it is an incredibly fascinating tale. I find the character of Clytemnestra very interesting and very compelling and kind of sympathetic, but in that kind of villain way.
Right.
That's I don't feel bad that you're dead, but
She's an anti-hero.
Yeah, not even that. I feel like everyone's just a villain because it's kind of like I watched Vampire Diaries and the originals because I'm a walking piece of garbage, but I enjoy the originals a lot more than the Vampire Diaries because the Vampire Diaries has this whole vibe of everyone's the good guy, but they don't do good things, they do really terrible things. And uh but with the originals for context are like the first vampires ever, and they're all evil.
Every single one of them has flaws.
They're all incredibly flawed because they're all incredibly old and have done terrible things throughout their 1,000 years of living. And so when they do things that are very morally gray or just completely just evil, it's you understand why, because they're totally broken characters, but you don't feel bad when bad things happen to them because, to be honest, they kind of deserve it.
Right.
And like Clytemnestra deserved what she got because of the way she treated her children and the way that she handled the death of her daughter. Rather than cherishing the kids she still had, she like abused them.
But we understand
emotionally neglecting them.
But we like you can see the way that she handles everything, because you didn't read the book, but like in the book, in the plays, she is so powerful. Like she's the only female character, it's maybe Athena, who's a goddess. She is the only female character that holds like a true power over anyone. Right. Like all of the servants are like, we love Clytemnestra, we hate Clytemnestra, but she's got this power to her, and we're kind of scared of her. Everyone's like she almost got away with convincing her son not to murder her. She almost convinced not to do it. Like she's like really good. She's a
really interesting and compelling female character. But I feel like with something like this, because here's the thing that I feel about female villains, and I feel like this is very true with a lot of them, like especially female villains, is they come across like they are evil because they're women. And because like a lot of time in media they have like, especially in like stuff like film noir and like really like Hollywood films, and even now especially with Disney movies,
Cruella de Vil.
Right, it's either you are Snow White or you're the evil queen. Either you are powerful, you are a powerful woman and are therefore evil, or you are an innocent flower who just needs to be saved, a man, and has no power of her own, but is good for having no power. And I like with Clytemnestra, she's an interesting character because she's powerful and evil, but she's also really looked down upon in the text for being powerful and evil.
Yes. And so it's very interesting because they don't look down upon Agamemnon, they don't look down upon Orestes, they don't obviously there was a very big sexism problem in ancient Greece.
Right, like that's pretty true.
I know that's shocking to our listeners.
Is it ancient Greece or is this Roman where they like would like, I don't remember if it was Greek or Roman times. It could have been both because Roman times essentially just copied Greek times. But like being gay is actually fairly celebrated.
So was
that Roman or Greek?
That was ancient Greek because in the Roman times, halfway through they got into Christianity.
Right, and then they became homophobic.
Yes, and then they were just nah.
Right, but in Greek times, being gay was actually quite celebrated because there is nothing strong to men than the idea of being with another man, because that's just twice the manliness, you know? You double it.
We want more men.
But lesbians were seen as the weakest of the weak because, first of all, they're women, and they're being with other women.
And they're too soft, they're not powerful, all this stuff.
Right.
And so Clytemnestra finding power, gaining her power by killing her husband and then keeping that power for years.
Is a power move.
Like, it's not good, but it's a power move, and she's a baddie for it.
Right, like we respect. We respect them.
I love Clytemnestra. Like I know, like I love the character ideal. Like I don't the character, I love the idea of it. She
Right.
didn't do everything correctly.
She's not like you want to be. She's
Right.
just like the power you want to emulate.
Right. You see her and you're like, she's done that, but there's something there,
Right.
which is like, I find it interesting.
I also find it very interesting, and I thank you for sharing this with me. I really like this tale.
It's cool, right?
I should read the play. I should.
Oh, you're gonna hate it. It's right over there.
Oh, it's like on the bookshelf.
Yeah, it's on.
Why would I hate it?
It is like so terribly translated, and you're like, just it's like thick, like almost like old Englishy. Like it's like.
Oh, I don't mind English. I don't mind that.
It's just hard to read.
You dislike that. I don't. I read Shakespeare really easily.
I'm not a big like old Englishy type of person.
I'm cool with it. I don't mind. I can read it fairly well.
And so that's basically the story of the Oresteia and Clytemnestra.
See, I talk about movies all the time because I'm a filmmaker, and then now you go into like some serious literary, like.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is very pretty.
It's
very good.
It's so interesting in every scene. And when I told a couple of my friends who were in the same class, they were like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait to listen to this episode," because they were all like, "We're pro Cly. We're pro Cly."
Shout out to little WLP majors listening to us right now.
Yeah, for all of you who know, that means writing, literature, and publishing.
Basically, just a glorified English.
Yes, I am. Anyway, I think that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
So, all right, everything we've said for today. That's everything we got for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. So, tune in next week to find out, are we going to become experts?
Probably not. Also, check us out on social media at Technically Not Experts on Instagram, as well as our Instagram accounts at Daryn-ish and
at Elliot Kelliot.
Also, check out our channel to see if you've missed any of our previous shows. You can always watch them as they are usually uploaded on there. We just recently uploaded the second episode. I talk about Transformers and why I hate it with a serious passion.
It was pretty good. I liked it.
So if you want to go listen to that, if you missed it, please do. You can check out our first episode, which is about Tinkerbell. They presented.
I think we're going to see a pattern of me liking strong women. Anyway, so we'll be back here next Monday at 4 p.m. just for all of y'all. And thank you guys again for tuning in. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.